going to be amazing. I'm like,
we're live. Hi, guys. Hopefully there's no delay. I think the last time I used my stuff, there was like a slight delay. So if we catch that after the fact, we will repost one.
Cool.
Yes. So
cool.
Thank you for your patience. We had a slight delay with Facebook as well this morning. Every time I went to our profile, it's like, you want to go to Meta. I'm like, no, I really don't want to go to Meta. Please don't. Stop taking me there. Yeah. I don't want to. I said no. Facebook, no.
I know.
So we are back live, 10 a.m. with the Dahlia Group.
Hello. Wednesday, 10 a.m. I keep wanting to say Tuesday. Our meeting yesterday, I was like, yeah, we go live. Wednesday. It's always like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think
Wednesday's just not a day for me.
Well, I also think this week is just a weird week, right? We all have like the holiday season coming up in whatever capacity you celebrate.
But it's been so warm.
Family and the fluctuation.
It was so warm and then it got really cold. So like I typically I'm starting to get ready for the holidays when it gets cold. Well, it wasn't cold last week.
I know.
Like at all.
And then it hit yesterday and I think my mentality shifted and I'm like, oh my God. The kids are off next week.
I know.
What day is it? Where are we? What season? Are we still
I know. Someone messaged me something about Friendsgiving because I'm hosting a Friendsgiving this year, and they were like, "Oh, do you need a turkey?" And I was like, "Oh, that's happening this week." So
in a week, literally 1 week. So we are here
anyway,
and it is Wednesday, and it is November, and we are live, and we are back with our Seller Focus series. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the pieces that you as a homeowner or a seller need to consider when you're listing your home, or again, just general maintenance stuff, right? Like a lot of the things that we've talked about have been things that you can do now as a homeowner to ensure the safety of your home, to ensure that your home is well kept, and again, just general maintenance. So.
And again, if you can't do it, we have people that can do it.
Who are you going to call? The Dahlia Group. That's what you're going to call. All right. So I came up with a few talking points today. Cool. The last time I did this, I personally talked about the 2022 items that we've already discussed, and brought a list of, even more things that you should be doing to prepare your home for sale. Yeah. Right? So first thing, your lighting.
Ooh, have you ever walked into a house and you switch and you're like, wait a minute, none of these lights are working. Is it a light? So this is the concern. Is it a burnout light bulb, or is there an electrical issue?
Yes. So if you take a minute to walk through your home,
and just turn the switches on.
Literally just turn the switches on.
See what works.
See what works, see what doesn't work, And honestly, I love the ones that you're like, I have no idea what this goes to, but they have it labeled. Did you see how we both just got really excited?
That too. It makes me go,
right? And you're not flipping it running room to room.
Well, so
going, did it turn anything on? Did it turn anything on?
Right, Is it a
maybe it's connected? Well, maybe it's connected to an outlet, right? So like, if it's an outlet light,
then you label it outlet.
Absolutely. Or plug in a lamp. Just plug in a lamp premeditatively. Plug in that lamp so when we flip that switch, we know.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So how it's supposed to be electrical wise is like the switch that's closest to the room that you're in. It's supposed to turn that room light on.
Which makes sense.
But in a lot of old homes here in Lancaster, it just isn't the way that it happened. Absolutely. It's just not the way that things are wired, which is funny.
And that's okay.
Oh, it's totally fine.
Totally fine. But it helps if you label
Correct.
it.
And if you're ready, if you're selling it, the person that's moving in would appreciate that also. Do you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine moving into the house and having the little labels and be like, oh yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? And then they can remove them.
Or having to move into your home, your new home, you get the keys and you are literally just trying to figure out what switches go to. Yes, all the time.
It does.
So again, make your life easier. You don't have to explain or figure out if it's an electrical issue.
Right.
Help your buyers. Again, transparency. We talked about this last week with the whole pre-listing inspection and how to just be as transparent and communicative as possible.
Right.
And really, these things tie into that as much as you can do on the front end. It's just going to make for a smoother transaction. It's going to give everybody the information they need. Yeah, for sure. With lighting, I thought it would be fun to talk also about like upgrading your actual fixtures. I know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My hair is like, okay, anyway, keep going. Actual fixtures.
It's the mugginess and the, I know. Yeah. So actual fixtures. So upgrading your lighting fixtures can really impact your space, right? And I'm not saying go and get a $10,000 chandelier, right? Because you are not going to get that value back. Right. So keep that in mind, right?
Because that fixture goes with the house unless it's specified.
Correct. Your personal choice and design and the money you want to spend on something that's high end isn't going to necessarily relate to the market value of the home. Right. A light is a light. An appraiser walking through is going to be like, whatever, it's a light.
Exactly.
But
that $10,000.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sorry. Absolutely. It's not going to
I walked into a bathroom yesterday. We walked into the bathroom and there was a huge chandelier and the door, it looks like the door was like swung and just barely missed the light. But you walk in, there's nothing there. So you're walking around it.
Yep.
So think about removing that chandelier and just putting one of those, what do they call them, the ones that are on the ceiling.
Just a standard light fixture.
And like you as the homeowner, right, you love that chandelier, you love it, you're used to walking into that room and walking around it, you're used to that. But the person that's walking into that room and that space is not used to that yet. So replacing that is, and even also, like, it's not that they're not that expensive, right? So that's a thing, right? So 100%. We're talking like, upgrade too, but we're also talking about just making it reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. Just do very standard basic lighting. Nobody's saying go and spend an arm and a leg, but it really can transform your space. And it also, like she said, from a buyer perspective, right? When you think about these big fixtures, but also within fixtures, you're also setting an expectation with like the scenario that she painted. If you have this beautiful thing that you did invest a lot of money in and your intention is to take it out. Right. So that way they're not even looking at it. Because I have walked into spaces and they're like, I love that. And they're like, that actually doesn't come with the house. Or it doesn't specify that it's included or excluded. And then the buyer's like, oh, well, we can ask for it. But you as a seller
are not leaving it.
Yeah, you had no intention of leaving it in the first place, right? So be very specific, be intentional, not only in what you're including and excluding, but set the expectation and just remove it to begin with, right? Replace with standard. Again, just updating with simple standard lighting can really transform the space.
Something that you can do when you move into a space though too is kind of, if you're replacing it, keep the old fixture. Like keep the old, like, I mean, I'm not talking like, you know,
like it's
thousands
broken.
Of things or broken things, but like if you can keep that that bulb glass like typical fixture and you're replacing it and just store it somewhere, and then when you do eventually, because you're going to eventually move out of that space, whether that's 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, whatever, front down the road, then you can just kind of put it back up.
I love that.
Just so you're not spent. There's no extra spend.
100%. Thinking ahead. Right. And that's a lot of this, right? Thinking ahead as far as like even the maintenance stuff. So that you are really setting yourself up for success when you do go to move and you do go to list your home. Okay. Next one. A handyman walkthrough.
So not an inspection.
Not an inspection, right? We're talking, even replacing some of these light fixtures, you're like, I don't know how to do that. Dude, that's cool. I don't want to do that either. Like whether I know how to or not, I don't want to.
In moving, you always have that one dent in the stairway up the stairs. Like everyone has like that little hole. And you're like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. Like, I don't care. It doesn't really matter.
But a buyer will, right? So, and again, even from a maintenance perspective, right? If you have some deferred maintenance, not even just cosmetic stuff, Truly, everybody does. Having someone, a contractor, a handyman, someone just walk through and take a look, right? Do some simple repairs for you, do some simple replacements for you. You know, those things.
Give you a list. Just give you a list.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, even that punch list could be really helpful for you, but just do some very minor work is going to set the transaction up again for success. And you can say, hey, look at what I did, right? I ensured that the house, you know, has at least had that walkthrough, right? Has had eyes on it. We've had a professional come out and, you know, let us know if there's anything that we should be addressing.
Right. So the handyman is going to tell you about the small hole from moving that too large of a bed upstairs, hole like dent in the wall. It's going to address the loose hand railing. It's going to address the caulking that's missing around here or missing around there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
Little
going to,
touches.
he or she,
yes,
handy person is going to address all those little things, right? So it's not an inspection where they're like, oh, foundation, roof, vent, this, that, whatever, that type of
Which
thing.
inspectors do look at the little things too.
Right?
And they are going to document those
absolutely,
things.
yes.
But the handyman isn't looking at that. Handy person
isn't
looking at that those big ticket items. They're going to come in, do that punch list.
It's going to be a little bit more of a reasonable cost. I say that with caveat of always, you never know what size. The bigger the big house is, no crystal ball.
Yes. I say that all the time. I'm like, I don't have a crystal ball.
That's why I was looking at you.
Anything could happen. Anything could happen. I don't have a crystal ball.
Seriously.
You know, but yeah, I mean, even checking under the sink, right? Like,
do there's a little every single house
there's a little drip and a leak, you know, coming from those pipes. That handy person walking through and checking all these spaces could catch that and make sure that everything's addressed.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely. So talked about professional. We talked about the lighting.
I love this one.
Declutter. Yes. Please.
And keep it decluttered.
Please. Yes. Not just for the pictures.
Not just for the pictures.
For the showing.
For literally the entire time that you are showing the house. And I know right now that's not a very long time typically.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So your weekend, 2 weekends, you know,
absolutely.
a week, 2 weeks, whatever.
Couple weeks.
When I sold my house.
Like 16, 17 right now. And
6 months.
Wow. Oh my gosh. First of all, I know her personally. I can't imagine how she maintained a show-ready home for 6 months. But hey, hold on. If Hannah can do it, you can do it.
What I'm saying.
If Hannah can do it, so can you.
I have 3 kids. I had a dog. It was a lot. You guys, seriously, if you need some advice as to what to do, how to do it,
absolutely
reach out.
We're happy to walk through the property with you, right? Yes. We keep saying this. We will do that. Seriously. That is a complimentary service. I can't even get that word out. Complimentary service that we provide.
It is. And I would love to. I love it. I love it's always so funny. You ever see those houses and you're like, I want to take a picture and shout out on Facebook and be like, anybody know the owner of this home? Can I please just walk through it? I just want to walk through your house.
Beautiful. But decluttering, right? So from a photos perspective, right, it's going to enhance the professional pictures you're getting because you as a consumer deserve to have professional pictures. Please do not continue to accept iPhone pictures with your finger, the person's finger over the camera. No.
We are not
professional
photographers.
Get professional pictures. Yes. We are not experts in that realm, but we can tell you from a real estate perspective.
It's important. It seriously is.
I love the marketability of your home, but even from like a consumer facing your buyer, when they see those pictures, that's your first impression.
I love when people are like, I don't know why this house hasn't sold.
Well, when you look at the listing, you're like, it's not necessarily painting it in the greatest light, but part of that, again, is decluttering. So walking around your space, we talked about depersonalizing already in this series, but decluttering really is a whole other beast, right? So you're walking around looking at your kitchen countertops. How many little appliances do you have? You
have
you have a toaster oven, you have your coffee maker, you have this, you have your toaster, you have all these little things.
Mixers, all the things out on your countertop.
And that's great because you live there and you're using these things and it makes sense, right? But your buyer needs to be able to imagine themselves in your home, right?
Right.
So the personal attachment that you have even to these items, not just your pictures and, you know, your whatever, but the clutter that we create as human beings, and we as human beings tend to turn a blind eye to, right? Because it's what we live in and what we see, and like, what's the issue, right?
Right.
It's a lived in home.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. But from a buyer perspective, when they're looking at your photos, they don't want to see all that clutter. When they're walking through and imagining themselves in the space, they don't want to see all that clutter, right? Shelving as well. Try to just remove everything, box it up. Also, you're getting ahead of your move, right?
Seriously, though, right? Again,
it's like pre-packing.
Again, right? Right now, houses are sitting for
approximately 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right?
On average,
right? So if you have a 2 week show time, you're moving in 45 days after that. Just box it up. Yeah. How often are you really going to use that KitchenAid mixer? Not that you don't use it, but I get it. So like my big thing,
but you really
are you going to use all these things? Well, it's a season, but you know
you can also buy.
Just
saying. But so save yourself the headache of
But seriously, though, like it is getting kind of moving. It really is, especially all the countertop space, the shelves,
your bathroom.
Like, anything. The bathroom is a big one.
Get the stuff off of the counters, on top of the toilets. Oh my gosh, your shower is cluttered with things. Yeah. And again, we get it, right? We're lived in. I have so much stuff. Oh my gosh, Jade, I love you, but I have a teenager, right? So she has so many things.
Much stuff. I mean, you do have stuff.
I do have stuff, but
she does have stuff.
But from a show ready perspective, I'm like, keep one. Yeah. Everything else is going into the closet, right? In an organized fashion, because we already talked about closet space and cabinet space. Yep. Organized fashion, but box it up. Yeah. Your buyer knows you're moving.
Exactly.
They're going to see the boxes and expect that, and actually be appreciative of the fact that you are showing.
Right. You're ready. You're show ready
to move, right? And to accept an offer that you want to move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything on the floor, if there is anything on, I
love that.
Anything on the floor, seriously. Yeah. If you have like whatever it is, up and out, it needs to go out.
Pick it up.
Nothing
nice, clean
belongs
spaces
on the floor.
Because you want to think, right? If I'm walking through a property, I want to get a true sense of the space, right? So the lighting is important, right? So it can light up that space to the best of its ability. Any bulbs that are burnt out, like we said, are replaced, right? And we can see it in its best light. You're welcome. But from a floor perspective as well, right? Like, it's not just the shelves, it's not just your tables. I have animals at home, right? So all of their things would go in a bin, right? To
in the morning
declutter the floor as well, right? Remotes in a very specific space.
Seriously.
Right? If you are like me and you love all of your pillows for your couch, I do love pillows. Even looking at that with a filter,
putting
right?
Them, putting them
appropriately. Not only putting them appropriately, but maybe removing
taking a couple away, making sure that blankets are folded and put away, making sure that, you know what I mean, like your couch doesn't look like someone just ransacked it the night before. Do you know what I mean? Like it just, these types of things, and I get that again, right? It's not something that everyone sits down and thinks about, but when you are, and again, not every day, but when you're listing your house, this is what's important. Correct. So that person, the person that comes walking through your house that's going to be living in it for the next 25 years sees themselves in it.
Correct.
That's the whole point of this.
That's truly the biggest thing is anyone walking through your house should be able to see the home for what it is and what it could be and see themselves in it.
Correct.
Right. They need to be able to imagine themselves in it. So if it's overly personalized, overly cluttered, not only can they not see themselves there, right, or imagine themselves there and imagine their things there, but again, the intentionality, right? Yeah. We've walked through a lot of homes where my buyer will turn to me and say, "Is the seller gonna be able to move?"
All the time.
Is the seller gonna be able to move?
They're like, "How long has this person lived in here? Yeah. What are they doing? And when will they move out? And are they gonna? Is this really only gonna take 30 days?
Yeah. Like, are you sure the seller's gonna be able to hit that timeline just based on what they're seeing when they walk through?
Seriously.
Yeah. Because it is a lot. Moving is not simple. So getting ahead of it, you're doing yourself a favor as well.
Exactly.
All right. So We have already talked about a handy person. And if you're thinking about all the stuff you have at your house and you're like, I do want to sew, but it is a lot. I don't know if I can declutter all these things. Hire someone. Hire a professional organizer, but also a professional cleaning person, right? So
we have some of those.
Another layer of that like decluttering is also cleaning. Doing a true deep clean of your home in preparation, not only for the photos, but again, showings, right? Because the reality is your home is on the market for days to a couple of weeks, depending on, you know, what's happening in your specific area. But again, average days on market is a little bit over 2 weeks. So if we're just going on that, having that deep clean up front is going to help you maintain it through
for the 2 weeks and then 45 days. Yep.
Absolutely.
And then, afterwards.
And not even necessarily the 45 days, but your buyer is going to walk around, all right? So, but at least from a maintenance perspective, well, and also, you're right. I mean, even leading up to settlement.
Right. You want, so the thing is that when you
the house is supposed to be clean.
When you move out, when the person gets in that house, what they're expecting is what they saw when they went through the house 45 days prior to.
Correct.
They're expecting that house to look the same way. And
also from an agreement perspective,
it kind of
you are supposed to have your home. We say broom swept, but
right.
I mean, clean. Right. You're handing off the keys to a property,
right? Yeah.
So
I'm actually working on removing all of. I have a huge section of games on my floor. I'm not selling my house. On the floor that I'm working on, like getting shelving.
Homes are lived in, right?
Homes are lived in. So
working
and like cleaning underneath that. Like you don't realize like what happens because you have all this. You have it sit there for how long, and then
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like moving the bookshelf that you haven't moved,
it's
like getting behind.
You're thinking about
getting behind your stove.
Yes.
Behind your refrigerator. Underneath your refrigerator. Like you don't move those things because they're not
living there.
Exactly. Like so getting someone to do that is where it is. Because who's doing
absolutely. You're already moving, you're already packing, you're already doing all these other things pertaining to your personal items. So if you can bring someone in, bring a professional in to do that deep clean, get your carpets cleaned. Please get your carpets cleaned. If you have animals, that's another thing. Yes. That is another thing. Like, again, I have animals.
Yep.
I also have animals, right? Like, I get it, but the space is lived in.
Yep.
When I walk in my home, I know what to expect, not only from a clutter perspective, but also an odor, right? Like, let's be real. Animals naturally are going to come with a certain level of odor. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that it's horrible. Right. But if you get that deep clean done, it's going to minimize it. So from a buyer who walks in who isn't accustomed to that, they might be a little more sensitive, right? And that might be an immediate turnoff the moment they walk in the door.
I've had people that are not animal owners and we both walk in and they did have a clean, and I didn't really smell. I smelled maybe a little something and they were like, yep, nope.
Yeah.
Because it can be because it depends on what you have in your own home.
What you're used to.
What you're used to.
Yep.
So getting the right people to do the cleaning is also very important.
What she said.
Because I have been in homes that say it's deep cleaned and I don't know that it was.
Yeah.
So just
And again, once all of these pieces have happened, I do want to circle back about, actually we'll pause really quick before all these things have happened. You said about the sensitivity.
It is sensitivity.
Allergies. Some people walking through your home will have allergies, right? So if you can, again, support your buyer and their experience as well. You're setting the tone for the transaction, but you're also, assisting them in being able to even walk through your home sometimes, right? So not only the odor perspective and sensitivities and that sort of thing, but allergies are really a big thing. Well, now I lost the point of the first one I tried to put on the back burner. Oh my gosh. It's okay. It'll come back to me.
Mine never do. I swear mine never do.
And then I'll comment on this video on all the platforms and I'll be like, hey guys, I remember about the cleaning.
So deep cleaning is very important.
Yes, it is very important.
And again,
just do it.
It's important to have the right people.
I remember now. Hi guys.
Still comment on
I remember now. So we are happy too, and this is actually typically what we do. Once you've decluttered, you've depersonalized, you've sort of staged your home for the photos, we will walk through and make sure there's nothing else that needs to be put away, make sure there's nothing else that needs to be moved, or maybe we need to move this piece of furniture to this to maximize the space, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
So even pertaining to cleaning, if we are hiring a professional, one of our vendors is coming in and they're doing a deep clean for you, we're gonna walk through after that as well, right?
Yep.
So we can say, hey, this spot still needs to be addressed, right? I can still see cobwebs up in that corner. Do you mind coming back and touching X, Y, Z?
Absolutely.
So,
and handyman stuff, if the handyman's coming over doing XYZ stuff, we're gonna come over, we're gonna check it out. We're 100%. Gonna make sure that they're on it, we're on it. Because it's not just it's not just your name that's attached to this though, too. Our names are attached to your home.
Absolutely.
And we take pride in what we do, and we love what we do, and we want to present, not that we won't present the house that you have and for all it's what it is, but it's about
it's about creating a good experience.
That's it. Like being a professional, right?
Absolutely. Because we want your experience too to be as smooth as possible.
Absolutely.
So if we are not doing these things and setting clear expectations and providing you the support you need in order to list your home, are we really doing our best and giving you the level of service and expectation that we've set as a team, right? And as a professional?
Yeah.
And I don't think that is the case, right? If we don't do that follow-up walkthrough, if we don't provide you with that vendor, if we are not supporting your true needs and being able to list your home in whatever capacity and whatever level you're at, we're as a selling agent, we're here for you, and this is the advice that we're giving. Obviously, you can take or leave some of this advice. Take or leave some of the things. Right. What applies, take what applies.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
Is what we're suggesting.
Absolutely.
Go with it, right?
But
we want your experience to be smooth, right? So when we do these things and we do set the tone here, experience also comes throughout the transaction, right? So when your buyer is walking through and they provide feedback that you get, we want that feedback to be as positive as possible, because we know that we've done everything we can on the front end to make their experience again as good as possible, so that again your experience is as great as possible. So it all ties in together, and if we're all having a great fun time,
or at least
the smooth
feedback, not necessarily good, but what's expected.
Correct. Right.
If
commenting on the size, right, of the space that they need versus a cleaning or an odor or something that, or not being show ready, that could have been prevented.
Sure.
And then we in turn did a disservice on the front end.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
Yep. So feedback what we expect. You know what I mean? So we're not blindsided by something.
We want to set clear expectations for everybody involved. All right. I only have 2 more things. I promise. All right. I promise. Landscaping. We talked about exterior, right? Previously, we talked about caulking. We talked about touching up, repointing brick. We've talked about your patios, your porches, but landscaping is a very important piece of it too, because again, your buyer pulls up to the house. That's their immediate impression, right?
Yep.
So they are already creating a list of things they need to do. Oh, look at that tree. The branch broke off. We're going to have to clean that up. I wonder if that tree needs to be addressed.
Overgrown sidewalks, overgrown, like you have
look at all the weeds in that bed. We're going to have to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Grass patches.
Right. It's time consuming.
It is.
A lot of this stuff I have found just doing it myself, like in small sizes, is doable. Some of it, right? I don't want to discount what landscapers do, because I've seen actual landscape properties and like,
dude, even from mulching, I hire somebody. I'm not doing that.
I have done it myself. I literally get blisters. I got blisters on the tops of my hands from the shovels.
Oh my god!
I did it myself.
So again, kudos to all of our landscapers out there.
Seriously,
Thank
though,
you.
yeah. So again, have names for those if you guys are interested in doing that. But yeah, trimming the trees or trimming the bushes, making sure things aren't overgrown or overdone.
Like you said, sidewalk cracks. That's also a safety hazard, right? We talked about that within the power washing things, but that's a potential safety hazard, right? That you did not clean up those weeds. Somebody trips, somebody's shoe gets caught, right? And that's now on your property, right?
Yeah.
So you're not only doing yourself a favor by maintaining it seasonally, or putting in a day right before you list, but you're also doing yourself a favor potentially on the liability side of things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So address the landscaping.
Yeah.
Yep. So last thing, first impressions. Your front door. Your front door. Your front door. We talked about porch, we talked about like decorations, we talked about creating inviting space, but as simple, and again, very simple, I'm not saying go and replace your front door, as simple as throwing a fresh coat of paint. We even talked about a little bit of paint going a long way previously. Apply that same thing, use that bit of advice in this filter. When you drive up to your home, can we freshen up that door? Right? Is maybe the paint chipped? It's a beautiful color. You love that. Retouch it. I still have the can. Cool.
Absolutely.
Fine. Maybe some of the trim around the windows is also peeling, right? Yep. Depending on the type of financing.
You're going to have to fix it anyway.
You might have to do it anyway. So why not just get ahead of it? Just get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do a quick walk around. See if you need to throw some fresh paint
at that point, you're doing it when the weather is right for you to be outside and doing it, right? Instead of like being like, oh my gosh, I only have a week to do this. When can I do this? It's been raining the entire week. What am I supposed to do? It's going to be too cold for me to go outside. If you do it now, if you look at the things now, you're able to kind of set like, you know what, I really don't. It's too rainy. It's too cold outside today. But don't be procrastinating.
I mean, we have people who will help. Again, we have our vendor list.
We do have people that will help.
But
if it's a little touch up, if you want to do it yourself, like at least you're giving yourself a little bit more time, right? Correct. I loved Andy's door, the yellow door. It photographed, and that's another thing. Photographed so well.
Beautiful.
Photographed so well.
Beautiful, because again, first impressions matter. They matter.
Like that drive up.
Your professional photographer can do all the things, right? And they can make those pictures look beautiful. But if they drive up and the house doesn't look like what they expected.
Exactly.
Right? That's kind of a bummer. That's kind of disheartening, right? For us as humans, we have an expectation of something, and then, that thing falls short. It kind of sets the tone, I think, for the experience. So if you can prevent that up front. Yeah. Well, that's all I have for today.
Is it?
It is. I did that.
I feel like my hair went on a journey during this also. I don't feel enjoy the transition here, guys.
We'll do a before and after. Maybe that frame of you like, are we live? Into the girls slowly reading. I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, again, all the things we have vendors for. Yep. All the things we have advice for. Yep. All the things we can walk through. Complimentary services. Yes. We can walk through your property, see what it needs, see what it doesn't need, give you a little bit of advice.
And talk about what's actually going to contribute value to your
what's necessary and what is just not necessary.
Absolutely. We say this week after week, but we are truly we're here for you.
I think she was just going to say we're heroes.
Yeah. I mean, I did leave my cape at home today, but since you wanted to bring it up. No, I'm just kidding. But we're here for you. We really are. So whether your timeline is to listen a few months, whether your timeline is another year out, or whether you're really still just toying with the idea and you don't have a timeline, whatever your situation is, we want to be able to support you. And
let us know.
Next week. I mean, not on Thursday, but
not
next week. But we're happy to do that, right? We want to be able to walk through that and really give you the answers that you need and give you the information that you should get from the professional that you're trusting.
Yep.
Right. So
next week,
on that note, yes, next week.
I'm really excited about this. So Rachel and I are going to do a fun little live. Yep. I'm going to be talking about all the different ways to cook a turkey. I'm going to talk about all the fun ways to make stuffing. We're going to talk about how we're thankful and how everyone is enjoying the week off and all the kids and all the stuff and what they enjoy to do and how we're celebrating being 100%. Thankful.
Yes, being thankful for whatever you're celebrating this holiday season. Truly, like, we are just excited to have the time with our families, with our friends, and just the people that we care about, right? And we hope that you guys get that too.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll be back next week talking about all that stuff. Yep. If you have anything in the meantime, comment some things, give us a phone call, how you like to do some
717-333-7045. You can read.
I knew it. Yep. I knew it.
I didn't do the commercial voice. You guys, you're welcome. I usually, I usually do it. You're welcome. See,
1-800.
That's my holiday gift to you this season.
I'm thankful for that.
So next week we'll be back for the thankful episode. If you want to schedule your walkthrough, please reach out to us. Phone, text, email. You can hit us up online, thedaliagroup.net. You can actually schedule it directly on our website too. Very easy. We try to simplify it. Yep. You can message us through either of these apps, Facebook, Instagram. Did you see how I did that? Up and down.
I wonder if you can tell. I think you can. All right.
I'm sure you can. Absolutely. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, fun.
Bye, guys. I'm going to do this gracefully.